Do you read me over?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Comm Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Comm Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Comm Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! All right, everybody, what's going on? Get some. Well, I've been having some serious technical difficulties with the internet and technology as a whole. So, I'm giving a huge shout out to Starbucks, which, by the way, they don't pay me anything, but might as well thank them for allowing me to use their internet and be able to provide this show to you. All right. So, and let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. And look, truth be told, I'm right outside their door because obviously they played their music pretty loud here within the store. So you may hear some vehicles and stuff pass by, but hey, that's the commitment to the show. Shout out to my wife for saying, hey, you owe to your audience. Go find a way to make it happen. So huge shout out to her. So let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. Look, this show is brought to you obviously by me. I don't get paid. I just do this because I love doing this, and also partnering up with the folks at SitchRadio.com. So if you're looking to, I'm on social media. I'm all over the place. If you want to find out where you're sitting at, financially, a complimentary evaluation, let me know. We can have a conversation. I can show you several ways that you can save money, get out of debt, and make more money. And if you want to make an extra $500 to $2,000, let's have a quick conversation and let's make it happen. All right, no pressure, no commitment, anything of the sort. Also, if you need a help and assistance with your VA claims and benefits, because now is the time to submit for those things, because pretty much there's several benefits that you can gain, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about in this show today. I just felt it was really important to make it happen, so that how can you maximize your claims and benefits? I mean, what I essentially do is I help people out with their claims, and I show you how to fish so that in the event of my absence, you can pick up the ball and keep going with it. Okay, so don't delay. Put in for your VA claims today. Wow, that matched. That rhymed. And look, at this show, I served the Marine Corps for 20 plus years. I deployed to every climb and place. And what I'm trying to say here is that I supported the Constitution and even some presidents that I didn't like, but none because that's what we do as service members. So if you like this show and you like what you hear, stick around, like, subscribe, and follow. Feel free to follow me in my other platforms on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, and as well as YouTube. So support the show is what I'm saying. Help me with the analytics. Okay. Or, if you don't like the show, go to SitchRadio.com. They have amazing things out there, amazing shows. And, Brian Colburn is an amazing individual. So if you want to get into the podcasting game, get with us. All right. So that's pretty much all the pleasantries out of the way. But hey, Friday night's Eve, baby Friday, goddamn, it's almost the weekend for most of you. For me, it's day on, stay on, like we used to say in the Marine Corps. So why did I want to talk about, and you've heard me say certain things here and there in other shows, but I just felt it was important because a lot of veterans wait until it's too late, or they feel that it's too hard to start the VA claims process. Or the other thing that I hear all the time is, hey, I don't deserve it. It's for you guys. You deploy, I didn't, blah, blah, blah. Look, you serve for this machine, and you need to apply for your VA claims and benefits, whether you're 6 months out before your end of contract, or it's been 20 plus years since you got out. This episode is the blueprint for you to take in control of your benefits. Okay, so we're going to break down the cost of procrastinating, how you can leverage buddy statements as well as Nexus letters uh, right away, because those things will pay you big dividends. And why is this more than just about compensation? It's about claiming what belongs to you and what you earn, and it's also, it could be a launch pad for you for a financial future. So you didn't if you didn't quit in the field, why would you quit as it pertains to your benefits? Why would you want to do that to yourself? Does that make sense? So let's talk about, you know, why it's important to not wait until you're broken, and why it's important for you to file while you're still in. Um, so you're getting ready to get out. You're going to your transition uh, classes, TRS, and back in the day we used to call it TAMP and TAP, Transition Assistance Program, among other things. Um, why is it important that you start, right away? Because you're still under that umbrella bubble, so to speak. You could go back to other episodes when we've had Jane Babcock on the show. She's a retired Army E7 as well as a retired VSO. You're still under that umbrella. So because of you're still under the military or the DoD umbrella, the VA is gonna pretty much take your word for it, because most likely you might have, for nine times you may have medical documents that may prove that you have, those things that are going for you, as well as presumptive conditions. Does that make sense? So the risk of toughing it out, and a lot of us who were in the service, we were toughing it out, uh, you know day first before me, all those things. You're pretty much doing yourself an injustice, because if you get out and your VA claims is as thick as this phone is, you pretty much did yourself an injustice, because now, after you're out years later, you're going to have issues. You're going to have things that are going on with you. I mean, case in point, luckily I was still covered. I've had a knee replacement, I've had shoulder surgeries, I've had all the multiple surgeries and issues, service related, because I was oorah, get some, bark, bark, woof, woof. So because of that, you want to get everything document, document, document. You're not being a sick bay commando, and that mentality that we put on ourselves, because we're part of this machine. So we want to be all tough, and and you want to, you know basically seem tough in front of your Marines or your soldiers, whatever. And you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. So you got to set up a timeline. I knew from the time that I knew when I had 5 years, uh, 15 years, I mean, 5 years left. I was at the 15-year mark. I was stationed in Fuji, and I was like, I just don't see myself past the 20-year mark or thereabouts. I mean, I would like to stay in, but I just didn't see myself in there. So what did I do? I started preparing myself, because I had heard many other people say, "Hey, put everything that you can on your medical record book." So by the time I got out of the service, I had two files, or two folders of medical stuff. I mean, that's how thick it was, right? So whether it's 180 days out or 365 days out, the sooner the better. So you want to get everything thrown in that medical record book, and hopefully there's a diagnosis attached to it. Okay, because why? Because that just gives you more leverage as you're trying to get compensated. You can look so, and feel free. This is free information. You can look at the pay scale on the VA website of what a single veteran gets paid at 100%, and what a married service member gets paid with dependents, being 100% permanent and totally disabled. So, I mean, huge incentive. By the way, that money is you don't have to report it. It's not taxed. So, wouldn't it make sense for you to put in a claim, right? Uh, what happens if you delay a claim? Well, you still have a shot. You actually do. you're filing years after the service, and it is harder, but it isn't impossible. Now you're just kind of fighting the grain. So now the burden is on you to prove that you have these things going on. Whereas when you were in the service, it was just kind of assumed that, like, yep, he has that because look, he's still in, so on and so forth. So uh, you'll need evidence. So you can request, you can go on the on DFAS or Kansas City to request your medical record books, and you post medical record books. You can all, if you were, for example, if you were stationed at Camp Pendleton, excuse me, you can call the record section and request uh, copies of your Alta notes. Your Alta notes is the medical system they use, because while on your medical record books they used to handwrite stuff in, there's also a portal, a medical portal, where you can get those copies of your medical record book. All right. The other thing that as you're filing, and then in addition to that, if you're being seen at a medical place at a civilian doctor, this is after the fact that you got out. If you're being seen at a civilian doctor, get those medical records, because we're gonna tie those together as well. And the other thing that you need is buddy statements or lay statements. And then we'll talk about Nexus letters here next. Buddy statements are letters proving your case to the VA. It could be letters from your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your girlfriend, uh, anybody your kids. When I was getting my VA compensation and I was fighting the VA to get my 100%, I got letters from my wife, I got letters from my kids. All those things help. And throw on, and because sometimes your wife well, your wife knows you then better than you do, or your partner, they know you better than you, they know your triggers, they know your this. So have them, say, hey, what things do you see wrong with me in regards to my moods, my depression, if any, whatever, and then put it on in a letter. Yes, I know so and so, Corporal so and so. We've been married for so many years. He battles with sleep apnea, breathing at night. He has been depressed. He has this. Have your kids too. Your kids. My dad. He's battled this. He's had cancer over the years. Blah blah. I believe it's because they were stationed at Camp Lejeune and they drank the water. You get all those things you need to. Again, these things now they're putting validity to the things, and they can vouch, especially if you have friends who were in the Marine Corps with you and you still are connected. Get statements from them, people that you were stationed with, your gunnies, your OICs, all those folks. They can help you and put a statement together, and you can submit those as proof, because now you have somebody that says that and verifies that, yep, I was there. Okay. Let's talk about Nexus letters. These are letters from your doctor or your primary care or specialist or an independence examiner. Nowhere on the 38 CFR, if you do a word search, does it say Nexus letter. And the 38 CFR is what the VA uses to compensate you. They have a chart there. And by the way, as I said before, people on who do your VA claim evaluation, they're not doctors. Most are not vets. They're just civilians who were trained for like about an hour or two, and they have a chart on the 38 code of federal regulations, and they're gonna basically be the ones, as they're looking at that chart, they're reading what you've put in the system. So you need to talk their language and spoon feed them the information and make it so easy that they're going to give you that rating for what you're claiming. With AI nowadays, you can look on ChatGPT, you can find a GPT that's already made, but you can create your own or prompt it. AI has gotten so advanced that you can say, I need you to act like a VA compensation claim specialist or a VSO in regards to the 38 CFR, and I need help putting in my claim as as somebody applying for the first time in 20 years. You prompt it like that, it's going to say, okay, waiting for instructions. And then you're going to tell it, hey, because after you you're going to go from head to toe. hey, I get headaches, I got scars, da 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 da, my joints, my this, my that. Then you're gonna have to put reasons why or what is that's going on. Well, tell ChatGPT I need a 400 character statement in regards to shoulder pain, and it'll do it for you. You may even want to say before you start doing that, also cue cue it that you were, for example, I was a motor transport mechanic. I was exposed to hazardous materials. I deploy here, I deploy there. Anything environmental that because all those things are going to help. So because the VA is going to want a paper trail when it comes to these statements are going to be your secret weapon. Because if it's not documented, it never happened. However, having those buddy statements, like somebody saw you, you fell off a 5 ton, you fell off a truck, a helmet, a hat, whatever, and you broke your ankle. Now they can say, yep, he's got a witness that was there and they saw him. And then if you're getting doctors' letters, because you need letters from your doctors, listen to this. If you're listening to this show, this when that doctor creates a letter on the things that you're trying to tie to the service, the statement at least as likely as not. You can prompt your GPT to help you formulate a template letter and say, hey, in areas where it fits the at least as likely as not, you know, then the GPT is going to do it. So ChatGPT can create a template letter for your doctor, for your wife, your kids, all those things. Okay, so who can write those letters for you? These Nexus letters. Well, it could be a VA doctor, your private medical doctor, a specialist. Doesn't matter. So a doctor. Again, these letters are very important. Okay, and these can flip the denial to make it to now make your case that much better. If your claim gets denied, don't give up. You're not the first or the only one that's ever been denied. It is your rights. You need to own. You need to have a mindset of ownership, and I guess, for lack of better words, entitlement. If you've broken your feet, you've had knee surgeries, you've had gout because you've taken Motrin a shit ton of times, Tylenol, everything else. You've had erectile dysfunction because you get migraines, headaches. Don't forget your athlete's foot. You've had hemorrhoids. You've had, just all kinds of all those things. Even your scars. You want to throw it on there and have that doctor, if you could ask, doc, I've been seeing you for 10, 15 years after I got out of the service. Can you write a letter about all my medical issues if I put a template together? And 9 times out of 10, that doctor is going to tell you yes. Yeah, I got you. No worries. Let me know what I need to do for you. If you need a template, I can help you put one together. Feel free to let me know. Okay, because it's not about gaming the system. It's about claiming what's yours already. You gave you heart, body, mind, soul, and spirit to this machine. Why not get compensated? Because you're going to get older. You're going to have issues. You're going to have aches and pains. I mean, it takes me a good. I'm not making this shit up, but I mean, when I get out of bed, it takes me a good 10, 15 minutes for everything to snap, crackle, and pop, and for me to kind of get warmed up like an old diesel and get the fluids going. I mean, that is the friggin' reality of things. So much so now with all my needs. I mean, I still make it happen. I still, do the best that I can. I try, I exercise and everything, but it's a battle. I mean, I'm sitting here on this chair, yeah, at Starbucks and everything, but my back is my back is aching. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and these are things that you can throw on that claim. I can't sit for long periods of time. If I drive for too many hours, my my and this is true. My left butt cheek, where the joint on my hip and my leg is, my sciatic. I mean, it'll start fucking screaming. So this is why I do, I recommend to do yoga and all those things, but it's because I'm getting, unfortunately, That is that is the nature of the beast. So wouldn't it make sense for you to get compensated and maybe get a disabled veteran tag so you can park and you don't have to fucking hike a mile at a parking lot or whatever else the case may be. So have entitlement, mindset, um, because veterans who delay often do out of pride, distrust, or just you burned out. I get it. The system is not the best. The system is not perfect. I get that, but it's the only one we got. And by the way, we're the only country that does this shit for their vets. So, regardless of what you may have heard on social media or whatever other shit, I'm here to tell you that this country is the only one that does a lot of things for their fucking fans. I know that because I've lived in other countries, I've traveled to other countries, and it's nowhere near as good. So, so just all we can do is just make it better. Um, your family, your future, your legacy depend on you fighting this battle now. The cool thing is that, those of you who listen to the show, those of you who have supported my show, you got me. I can help you. You know, I'll do. I'm not going to charge you. I mean, when I help a veteran, and you can see a TikTok, I just helped a veteran who's 84 years old go from 40% to 70%, which he needed because now he qualifies for not only the home modification grant, but he also qualifies now for the caregiver program. So that way, his family, his daughter, is his caregiver, and they can get compensated for that as well. So because of these things, and I'm going to help you. All I ask is that let me help you with that money that you're going to get, put it to work, and put it in something that later on in life you have something for you and your family. Don't just blow it on buying. If you're younger, buying video games and video game consoles and whatever other dumb shit is out there. Do it. Put it for something that's going to help your family, or maybe implementing a life insurance policy. You know, uh, because this compensation is a tool. Once you claim it, don't just blow it. Okay, you can max out a Roth IRA. You can put a traditional IRA as well. Maybe set up a trust or an LLC, so that way you get some tax benefits on a lot of things. You can fund your business, purchase, as I mentioned, purchase life insurance among other things. Make that money work for you. Okay, I've said this in the past. I mean, it's important because don't just solely rely on. A lot of people tend to think that 65 is this magical number, and that you're gonna be good, and with the government giving you all these things, and you should not depend on the government, folks. If you do things correctly, like these furloughs and things going on, you should have already things implemented, especially as a veteran that if you've been receiving for a while and you're still stressing about a check, you got issues financially, and you need to do something about that. So let me help you, let me show you what I can do. But these benefits are yours. Have somebody help you out. Yes, you can go to what we call a claim shark, a lawyer, and they're going to charge you a percentage of your claim for that first year, or they may even charge you just a shit ton of money. Why do that when the tools and resources are out there already, and you could do it for free? Yes, it might take a little bit, but guess what? You're gonna learn a couple of things, because regardless of what age you are, that whole "hey, I'm not tech savvy" or whatever, that is a cop out and a crock of shit. Stop being a pussy. It's not that difficult. Learn, learn a computer. Get on there. The VA website is pretty friendly nowadays. There's people out there that can help and won't charge you, like me. And just get your shit together, man. Make it happen. Stop being a little bitch, and put in, not just saying, "Oh, I'm not tech savvy on this thing," on everything else, because that nowadays that is the most bullshit line I've heard. Jobs need you to be tech savvy, have some basic skills. So even if you need to take classes or whatever. So didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but that's the friggin' truth. Anyways, everybody, I think this is a good place to index. If you need help, you have questions, shoot me, shoot me a DM. You can contact me. We can set up a talk and see how I can help and point you in the right direction. But let's get your claim going, and then let's put that money. Yes, you can use some for to do whatever fun stuff you want to do. But let's use some of that to put it to work for you. All right. And you've been struggling with anything related as far as depression, ruminating, other things, hit me up. Hit me up on the show. Let's have a talk. Let me talk you off the ledge. Okay? Because that's what we do. But we just don't want you to be a statistic. So with that being said, everybody, I just want to say thank you for your love and support. Support my other platforms. And I'll see you next week. Ahora, get some. Ice Tomas, Dice the Key. Bye bye, everybody. Take care now.